Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican Queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV, and this is How I See It Live. Before we get into this live stream, I'm gonna give some of you some more time to get in here. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, now called X, at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. It's the weekend. If you don't have to work, I hope that you'll spend your time relaxing, drinking some wine, unwinding. And as I said, just get some relaxation in if you don't have to work this weekend. I'm one of those people who I have a day off on a Saturday and a Sunday. And a lot of the times I have so much to do on a weekend. But today I am trying to just relax. Okay. So you see the thumbnail and the title of this live stream, and it's all about Miss Kenya Summer Moore standing up for Melody Cherie. Kenya Moore went live yesterday on her YouTube channel. If you haven't seen her live stream yet, please go check it out. I think the name of her channel is Kenya Moore. So go check out some of the things that she talked about over there. But she went live and she talked about, Karen Huger being released from jail or prison. I'm not sure which one was it. Was she in jail or was she in prison? Good morning, Mama V. Because I know there's a difference. There's a difference. But anyways, Karen was released. She was locked up for a few months and now she is out. Allegedly, she is filming for the Real Housewives of Potomac. They're still filming their new season. And I'm not mad at it if Karen is filming. Um, what's her face? Teresa Judice, or whatever her name is, from New Jersey. She went to prison, and when she came out, she got a whole spinoff. Okay, so I don't see the issue in Karen, doing her time, coming out. She needs some money, and we are going to. If she is indeed filming, we're going to probably get to just hear what her experience was while she was in there and see where her life is going to go now that she's out. Like, is she going to go into a alcohol treatment program? What is she going to do to ensure that she never ends up in the position that she just found herself in? But after that, Kenya Moore talked about, she also said she wanted to interview Karen. Don't know if that's going to happen. Let's see. But she went on to talk about Melody and, the things that have been happening on social media surrounding Martell still harassing Melody. It's no allegedly, he can't sue us because we saw it with our own eyes. He is still harassing her. So the court system and the authorities down there in Huntsville, y'all need to do something about that. Ain't no way, there is no way that a man should have just pleaded guilty for harassment. And then the second he leaves the courtroom, what he does is to continue to harass. Something is wrong with that whole picture. That is problematic behavior. And the reason why he thinks that he has the license to continue to harass her is because y'all let him off easy. Y'all should have made an example of him. Y'all should have had him understand that harassing a woman in any shape or form is unacceptable. But see, y'all didn't do what y'all were supposed to do the first time, and that made him feel like, I can get away with it again. Because all I had to do was, appeal, plead to a lesser charge, and walk away paying $300, then yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it again and go back and pay my $300. I mean, that's what it's given. But anyways, Kenya says she believes Melody. She believes Melody. And Kenya, for the most part, when Martell was play dating Sheree, she brought up the revenge piece situation on the Real Housewives of Atlanta's reunion. She put it out there for the world to hear it. Let's be for real. Real Housewives of Atlanta is a bigger platform than Love and Marriage Huntsville. Bravo is a bigger platform than the OWN network. So when Kenya put that out there, it was a big deal, especially because on the show that Melody was on, Love and Marriage Huntsville, no one was talking about it, even though they knew it was true. Please recall that the last reunion of Love and Marriage Huntsville, all of a sudden, Marsaw, who was acting like, oh, free Martell. Marsaw, who was acting as if Martell did nothing wrong, because Martell was out here calling out Tisha and her alleged past 304 behaviors from college. Now, all of a sudden, on the reunion stage, Marsaul was able to say, yeah, we knew of a tape. It was brought to our attention a few years ago. And we asked Melody about it, and we realized that it was true. All of a sudden, everybody was able to admit that they knew about this tape. But when Melody went and reported the matter, and it became full on public knowledge, all of those weak people on that cast acted as if Melody did something wrong, even though they knew that Martell was going around. Because remember, Tisha went on Carlos King's Messy Mondays or whatever, and she admitted that Martell was showing that tape around and showing images of his baby mama too. But before they got mad at Martell, Melody was wrong. Melody had no reason to go report the threats. Melody had no reason to feel threatened. And it took for a Kenya Moore on a whole other network, on a whole other show, to bring it up. So she has been standing up for Melody for a while now, and she continues to do so. And what is so sad to me is that there are a few content creators who a few years ago I would have said, oh my God, I like this content creator. But I don't know what is in the air. I don't know what is in the air. And truly, a lot of them is like a level of hatred was turned on in their brains after the untimely passing of Miss Kiki Jabbar. And a lot of them feel like they know everything. A lot of them feel like they're the only ones that, had DM friendships or whatever, over the phone friendships and over the phone conversations with Kiki. May her soul rest in peace. But the difference between some of those people who use Kiki's name for clicks and views, and other people who have had conversations with Kiki, is that some of us aren't willing to air DM exchanges just to prove a point. Some of us aren't willing to use her for clicks and views. And I've had a huge problem with some of those content creators to the point where I'm like, I don't even know how I had liked some of y'all in the beginning. And I've made sure that my YouTube algorithm and my YouTube timeline has been cleansed from some of those people. Even to see some of these people who claim that they were Kiki's biggest friends and biggest supporters turn around supporting some of the same people who had some of the nastiest and most vile things to say about her while she was alive. And even after she passed away, I could never. And I didn't even know Kiki personally like that. And y'all were claiming that y'all were on phone calls with her day in and day out, and y'all were best friends. And now y'all have turned around to be all chummy chummy and on panels and platforms with the same people who did her dirty in terms of how they spoke about her while she was alive. I could never. So to see that these are the same people who are now, hey Ines, who are now caping for Martell, it doesn't surprise me. Because it's clear that they will flip and flop. It's clear that they are flip floppers. They're weak minded. Weak minded. Because a woman said a couple years ago, no, there was never anything. And to be clear, if you go back and you listen to that Dr. Heavenly interview, Melody never said nothing physical happened. She never said, no, there was no physical AB. That's not what she said. And I wish that I had my other phone charged up so I could actually play the clip from the interview. She never said that. Melody is a very well-spoken woman. And that was one of the first times, that was one of the first interviews I've ever heard Melody do, where she was humming and humming to find the appropriate answer. It took Melody a few minutes to actually give an answer that wouldn't make Martell look bad, but also wouldn't make her a liar. If those people would actually go back and listen to how she responded to Heavenly's question, y'all will realize that she never said no. The first part of her answer is, yes, we've had moments. That's actually what she said. But y'all wanted to hear what y'all wanted to hear. She said there've been moments. But I am not one of those women who's going to sit around and be a bead. And then after that, Heavenly took over the answers for the question, and she said, yeah, you don't look like, whatever, whatever. I wish that I had my phone charger. Now I can't even find my charger to be able to play it. But go back and listen. And y'all will see exactly what I'm saying. She never said, no, he never physically AB'd me. She never said no. She said, we've had moments. And then she hummed and hummed and hummed and hummed. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but there were lots of pauses, and she was looking into the air trying to find the appropriate answer. Now, at first, when I watched that Heavenly interview, I wasn't really paying close attention to how she was answering the question. But you see, when people want to be vindictive and petty and they bring up something, they go and they go, search to find clips. And now you're actually listening. Now you realize, wait a minute, she never said no. There is no hater out there that can watch that clip that Martel posted, or go back and watch that entire interview and say to me, this is where Melody said, no, he never physically AB'd me. Because she never said that. That's not what she said. And to say that I'm not the type of woman to sit around and be AB'd means that she is a fighter. It means that if you put your hands on me, I'm going to react. I am not going to cower in fear. If you slap me, I'm going to slap you back. If you punch me, I'm going to punch you back. If you steal my money, I'm going to show up and let you know that you can't steal from me. If I'm trying to get into my home because I left you and I'm trying to get my things and you're preventing me from getting my things, I'm going to grab a bat because why are you provoking me? That's what she's saying. Because let's be clear, and I'm not calling these women weak, but I'm just saying that there are several levels to abusive situations. Let's just call it what it is. There are women who won't fight back. Like, let's just be for real. There are women who won't fight back. There are women who, the first time you do it, they're out of there. There are women who they go back over and over and over and over again. There are situations where the physical AB is so few and far in between that a lot of women, they don't realize that, wait, this is actually DV, not because the last time he punched me was 6 months ago or a year ago doesn't mean that it's not an abusive situation. There are levels to it. And there are women who are going to fight back and they're going to stay because they feel like, well, if he punches me, I'm going to punch him back. If he hits me, I'm going to hit him back. But it doesn't mean that she's not a victim because she's going to hit back. It's called reactive abuse. I posted a video yesterday to my story on Instagram. Cause y'all know how the algorithm works. You start talking about something, your phone listening, Instagram listening, all of a sudden certain things start popping up on your timeline. And this video popped up of a man arguing with his girlfriend, his sister. I don't know who it possibly could be, but they're arguing and he slaps the woman. Just mid argument, he just slaps her. And she brought her arm all the way back and punched him into another universe. He was knocked out. Okay? And on my story, hey Alf, on my story, I said, not because she slapped him into confusion doesn't mean that she wasn't the victim. Because she fought back doesn't mean that she's not the victim. Because why, as a grown ass man, are you lifting your hands to put on a woman? She wasn't even doing anything. They were arguing. She was on the phone with somebody. I don't know if she was calling the police. I don't know what she was doing, but they were arguing. She was on the phone and he just slapped her. And she slapped him back. Now, there are people under my comments on Instagram, I think under the neighborhood talk, saying, oh, he didn't punch her. He put it in quotes because he was being sarcastic. Huh? Okay, let's say you honestly believe that. There was a second message, there was a second batch of messages that she drops where he didn't put anything in quotations. There was no sarcasm. He punched her. He slapped her. And when he responded, trying to gaslight, because that's what he was doing, gaslighting her, the follow up message that she sent was, oh, so you're trying to say that, and I'm just paraphrasing, you're trying to say that when you slapped me last week and when you punched me last week is because I slapped you first? Really? Just like an abuser to say some shit like that. Because the truth was, that's not what happened. He was trying to gaslight. Okay, y'all are arguing. She's yelling. She's getting in your face. She's calling you a bitch because that's what you're acting like. And you slap her, and now you're going to gaslight her, trying to act like you did it because she did it to you first. Melody is a skinny woman. And I heard another content creator point this out. When we met Melody on Love and Marriage Huntsville, she was tiny AF. One second, y'all. I gotta get my charger. As I was saying, she was tiny. Melody was super skinny when we met her. Toot says she was like 125. And this man was always in the gym. You're not gonna convince me that any slap she gave him, any punch she gave him, hurt him that much where he had to punch her back or slap her back. The fact is, he slapped her, she slapped him back. And then he wanted to paint the picture in the text messages that she was the aggressor and he just had to react. See, the haters don't want to read between the lines because they want to believe the lie. And it's so horrible to me, so horrible to me that people can dislike somebody to a point where they will excuse they will excuse what is actually in front of them. Like you actually saw him harassing her in that courthouse parking lot or on that courthouse sidewalk, wherever they were. Y'all saw that. I think it was last year, Melody posted messages where he's texting her, asking her why she's at the courthouse, why she's talking to a lawyer. Sir, are you stalking me? Are you watching me? How do you know that I am at the courthouse talking to a lawyer? In the text messages that he sent, saying that he is going to release the videos. The other part of that was him saying He doesn't give a F what's going to happen to him. He's going to do it. When him and Melody a few years ago were going back and forth, if y'all recall, because y'all know I love accurate context, content creators were on YouTube and they were saying Melody won the court battle, the custody battle, because they had seen Melody with the kids for several weeks and they're supposed to be week on, week off. Hmm? But the reason why we were seeing Melody with the kids so much, which we didn't know at the time, because Melody didn't come out and say anything to anybody, was because there was a situation with Tank and he lost custody for 50 something days, right? So that's why we were seeing Melody with the kids so much. And so a lot of people just assume she won the custody battle. He got in his feelings and went down to Instagram in the Popeyes parking lot with his red cap on, telling Melody to leave him alone and to stop spreading lies because his lawyer is four wins were four and her lawyer wasn't winning. Like he was going off on Instagram. Accurate context. Not because Melody was saying anything, not because Melody was telling content creators anything. It was just people observing that Melody had the kids for several weeks. And so the assumption was because the content creators know they were in court battling it out for custody of the children. The assumption became, oh, Melody must have won because we have seen her with the kids for 2, 3 weeks in a row. He got mad and went down to Instagram and started going off. And so Melody responded because some of the things that he was saying was just horrible. Playing voice recordings of his daughter. Just crazy. And so she responded. And if y'all recall, when she started to respond, one of his story posts was, oh, that's why you reported me to the police several times and they didn't do nothing. Remember that. Y'all remember? Because I remember clearly. And at that time, I even know 100% like what he was even talking about. Like, she's been reporting you to the authorities and they haven't been doing nothing and you out here boasting about it. Until later down the lines, we realized that he threatened her with a weapon. And Melody broke it down in the live the other day. And she went and she filed a police report. They did nothing. He texted her saying, oh, if you have any men around my children, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to kill him. And the police didn't do nothing. He's texting her, threatening to release intimate videos of them. And this is one of the only times that they probably did do something. They arrested him. He pled guilty. They dropped one of the charges, and now he got a slap on the wrist or a $300 fine for harassment, and he's still harassing her. The people who say Melody is just bitter are the same people who forget that this lady left this marriage with nothing. She didn't ask for alimony. She didn't ask for child support. All she wanted was to co-parent amicably. Sir, I am done with you. Be with whoever you want to be with. But see, for the sake of these children, let's just be cool. And she tried to be cool with this man until they went on that destined trip and he realized she really is done. There is no possibility, in the words of Nene Leakes, for that door to be open again. And he got in his feelings and then went back to Huntsville and filed in the court that he wanted full custody of the children because all of a sudden she got 24 babysitters. He wanted control. But Melody is the bitter one. Just like she said in the text messages, she was telling him, "Sir, I can't control what you're doing in your house. So how do you feel like you're going to come control what I'm doing over here in my house? I can't control the umpteen people you got around my kids. Belinda, Coleslaw, Sherry, whoever else. But you want to dictate that my brother can't watch his nieces and nephews. My brother's husband can't watch his nieces and nephews. My best friend Brittany can't watch her god babies. My mama can't watch her grandkids. And these are the only people around the children, but you want to put it out there, oh, they got 11 babysitters. And then he moved it to 24. And he just kept upping the number and upping the number and upping the number. And then when he realized Mel wasn't going to back down in court, when he realized that he didn't have money to pay these lawyer fees, now it was Melody is the problem in the court case. Melody doesn't want to come to a resolution. No, ain't no resolution when you try to take my children from me over lies. Oh, she didn't want full custody at first. No, she wanted 50-50 custody. She wanted to make sure that you got your time with the children and she got her time with the children, and you brought it to court that you wanted full custody because you want to play dummy games. So yeah, now okay, fine. Cuz I got the means to fight you in court and you don't have the means to fight me. So you want to play? Let's play. And that's what happened. But then you got people out here talking about Melody is bitter. Y'all watch a whole video of this man pulling up on her with a bird in the car. Talking about fix your face, fix your hair. Don't be looking at me like that. This lady wasn't even bothering him. She was walking, minding her business. He stopped. And then somehow, some way, these haters still want to say Melody is bitter. Bitter about what exactly? It seems to me like y'all just want to be dumb. And that's so crazy to me. It's so wild to me that y'all can hear the bitterness in that man's voice, can see the bitterness in his behavior. And this lady who has moved on with her life and has been prospering, she's the bitter one. She left him on that show, walked away from it, and has still been prospering. And y'all want to say, oh, she's just talking now because she wants her name in the people's mouths. Hello? I've been talking about Melody still. She left the show, and every time she has a TikTok live, we over there. We talking about it. We posting about it. We doing commentary about it. Every time there's an article in an Essence magazine, a Femi magazine, whoever, it doesn't matter the name of the magazine. We reading it. We're talking about it. She just won a reality, a telly award, and we were talking about it for Sharnita's World. We are not even 100% sure if she is a part of the production team for that new childcare center show, Childcare Cartel, but we were talking about it. And for a lot of us, we haven't been talking about that show. We don't care about them people left over there. It's given Martell did what he did to get his name back in the people's mouths. Because truth be told, I haven't been talking about that man. Haven't been talking about that bird. Haven't been talking about anybody or anything that has to do with that show. But somehow in the minds of the haters, oh, Melody is just doing this because Melody pulled up on herself at the courthouse. Melody told him to pull up on her. Melody told him to bother her so that there would be a video evidence so that she could come to TikTok and talk about it. Like, y'all are that slow? And that reasoning makes sense to y'all? Come on now. Melody has her own production company. If she wants to be back on reality TV, she can be back on reality TV. She has her own television network. If she wants to be on TV, she can be on TV. Because we going to watch. We know exactly where to find the Nubian network. And for those of us who can't find it on what's it called, RHOA, we are going to find it on the www dot or wherever their website is, and we're gonna watch. But they want to come up with all these excuses. Y'all can say, I don't like Melody, but let's be, and this is one thing, this is a reason why people like Scotty by Nature TV and a few others, I will always have respect for them because they know how to separate the TV show from real life. And I'll forever say that about Scotty. I don't care about who likes him or doesn't like him based on his commentary on the show. But one thing's for sure and two things for certain. When it comes to Melody versus Martell, Scotty has always been 100% T Melody. Because they see the BS that Martell is doing, and it's never going to be, oh, I don't like Melody, so I don't care what Martell's doing. Martell's the good guy because I don't like Melody based on how I perceive the show. Have your dislike for her. But when you see that man just pled guilty for harassment and he's pulling up on her, bothering her, and harassing her, don't sit on y'all's platforms and say, oh, Martell isn't doing anything wrong. Melody's just bitter. Melody wants to be back on the show. Like, that's dumb. That is so dumb. Don't sit on your platforms and say, well, she said in Dr. Heavenly's interview, there was no physical. She never said that. She never said, no, he never put his hands on me. No, there was no physical AB. She never said that. What she said was, well, we've had our moments. That's exactly what she said. That's what she said. And then she went on to say, I'm not one, but I'm not one of those women that's going to sit around and be a bead. Meaning it might have happened one time and she stayed, two times she fought back, but by the third, fourth time, she was out of there. And he said, you've been leaving for 11 years, ha 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 ha, because he felt like, oh, because she was always threatening to leave and never really did, left him when she first found out that he was messing around and came back, then left again and tried to figure it out. But then by the third time, she was like, hell no, I'm out of here. He felt like she was going to come back again. And that's his biggest issue. Are y'all not reading these text messages and realizing for what's going on for real, for real? He really felt like she was never going to leave. That's what those text messages prove. That man was ha ha ha, na 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 na. You've been trying to leave for 11 years and you haven't gone anywhere, so I know you're not leaving. Ha ha ha. So I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. Ha. That's what those text messages are telling y'all. And the end result of that is when she finally Left for real, he can't take it because she was never supposed to go anywhere. She was supposed to continue to be the type of woman to sit around and accept the emotional abuse, the physical abuse, the financial abuse. Because let's be clear, him taking her money and the family's money and using it on some dumb bird, that's financial AB because you're stealing from the family. And he thought she was supposed to sit around and accept that. And because he wasn't able to be the one to dispose of her and move on with his life and be rich and fabulous, he hates her for that. If Martell was well off right now, if he was the one with a Martell Holt skincare brand, if he was the one with a TV network, if he was the one with a reality TV show winning awards, if he was the one going to LA every week or every other weekend doing TikTok lives and having 100,000 plus people watching and buying, he would be okay. If she fell off after she left him, he would be okay. But because he's broke and destitute with a dumb bird that can't do anything for herself, can't even buy a car, because he knows he can't flex on Melody the way he would really love to flex on her, he hates her. And he wants to tear her down. Do y'all not see the two things that he pointed out in those posts? Well, or in the text messages that he sent to Tasha K. Oh, anything to sell those products. Why? Because he is envious of the fact that Melody is moving products. He's envious of the fact that he could have been sitting on 15% without having to lift a finger. He hates the fact that he was so dumb that he forgot in that meeting when they were dissolving, businesses and stuff. He is so mad that in that moment he was so dumb not to remember who the F Melody Cherie Rogers is. He forgot in that moment that she's been the brains of the operation the entire time. He forgot in that moment that if anybody between the both of them was going to have a multi-million dollar, almost billion-dollar company, it's definitely going to be Mel. See, if he was smart, he would have sat there and he would have said, you know what, I'll take the 15%. Let it stay in the back of his mind that she's going to make millions of dollars with this company. You know what, fine. I'll take 15%. Y'all remember the shock on his face when she said, oh, you want 50%. Dissolved. The wind was knocked out of him. He was like, you can't do that. What you mean? Oh, we gotta talk to our lawyers. What you mean? The lawyers can't tell me that I can't dissolve a business. Hmm. And what's the next thing that he brought up? She was in her Sunday best. He just knew Melody looked good. But he had to downplay those two things. The two things that he can't flex on her about. He can't flex on her that she not moving products or that he has a business that is doing better than her. So he had to point that out to Tasha K. Oh, she don't do anything to sell those products. So she been selling products, not talking about you or anybody on that show. She's done several TikTok lives since she's left. Love and Marriage Huntsville, and they have all been great for her. She didn't need to mention Love and Marriage Huntsville, any of the cast members, and she sure as hell didn't have to mention you or the bird. And truth be told, when Melody does those lives, she hasn't talked about them. She only talks about her products. But they're watching her hard. They're watching her so hard. Talking about she was in her Sunday best. When Miss Anna Grace posted the video of what Melody was actually in, and then we compare it to what the bird had on, I was like, yeah, your heart was was hurting when you looked at her in that white suit and her Louis bag and her heels on, makeup set, hair laid, walking with her shoulders back and her head high. And I know she looked good and I'm sure she smelled good. And you couldn't even walk up to her. You couldn't even talk to her. I know your heart was pounding in your chest, Martell, which is why you had to point that out to Tasha K. The woman looked good. And then we looked over there at Coleslaw in her all black with her hair looking a mess, looking like a whole high schooler that had to go to work with daddy, looking so out of place. And I can see why it bothered you that that Mel looks so good. And what Coleslaw didn't realize is that the second he saw Melody in that courthouse, he was running through all the comparisons in his mind. And in that moment in Coleslaw, he hated you too. But see, he couldn't take his anger out on you, girl. He couldn't. So what he did, he went around and around in circles so that he could go bother Melody. Because the only way he could have gotten close to her, the only way he could have gone to talk to her was to bother her. What he really wanted to say was, you look good. But because he's a hater, because he's trash, he wasn't going to say that. But let these pick-me's, as somebody called them, pick-meshas, tell it. Melody's bitter. Melody's the one bothering Martell. I'm like, are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? But you also have to realize that a lot of them want to rage bait too. See, the only way they're gonna get any traction over there on their YouTube channel is to sit and bash Melody because they feel like they're gonna have millimeters in the chat windmilling. Y'all not gonna get me over there ever. Mm-mm. I have to go over to y'all channels to defend anything. I'm not gonna go sit on y'all's panels to defend anything. Y'all can stay over there and be dumb and let the record show that the side that y'all picked. Because the same man y'all defended, his bird already told y'all in those phone call conversations that was recorded by that other blogger way back when. What's her name? Original Straight No Chase or whatever her name was. When she had recorded those calls, y'all are the same ones forgetting that Coleslaw done already heard him out for putting hands on her. But let y'all tell it, Martell isn't an abuser. We watched them on that Vegas cast trip. We watched them on that Vegas cast trip when Martell tried to run up on Melody, and all those men in that house had to It took three of them to push him back and outside. Three men it took to stop him from running up on Melody. Y'all watched him yell and scream in Mama Van's face at that baby's birthday party when Melody was saying, look, you're not coming in. We don't have that type of relationship where we're going to do a joint birthday party. You can get them later. You can get them later. It will still be her birthday later. I don't have to send her to spend time with you today because according to the court documents, it's a leap year and I get to have her on her birthday. But I will give grace and I will allow you to come get her later. Y'all remember how he was yelling in Mama Van's face? But yet somehow it's just so unfathomable. You can't fathom for the life of you that Melody could have been protecting him when she said to Heavenly, we've had moments, but I'm just not one of those women that's gonna sit around and be a bead. She was admitting it then. She was telling y'all then. And even when she sat on that reunion and she said, yeah, it was so toxic in that house. That's why I had to beat you up that time. There was no context. Because the full context could have been he put his hands on her and she had to show him exactly why she's not going to be one of those women that's going to sit around and let a man punch and slap on her. She is going to defend herself. Oh, because she smashed a glass on the ground because he was sitting in her face talking about she wasn't pleasing him. And that's why he had to go out there and get somebody else. That's why he had to go and mess up his family and his legacy and the generational wealth that he could have created as a team with Melody. And she was supposed to sit there and she wasn't supposed to be human in that moment. She didn't hit him with the glass. It was frustration because that's the dumb stuff he was probably saying to her over and over and over and over and over again in private. And he really decided on camera that he was going to say that again because he knew it was going to trigger her. That's emotional abuse for the soul people in the back. And what you saw was her reaction to his emotional abuse because what he said was something that he knew was going to trigger her. But y'all want to continue to be slow? Okay, continue. Let me read y'all's comments. Let me read y'all's comments because I've been going off. So shout out to Kenya Moore. If y'all don't know, Kenya Moore has a degree in psychology. So she probably knows more than me about the psychology of a man like Martel. So shout out to Kenya for being her sister's keeper, for being a girl's girl. You hear me? I'm gonna read y'all's comments. One second, I'm trying to scroll down. It sounds like Marlene tried to double team her after the punch. Yep, that's what it sounded like to me too. Over there enabling his foolishness. And then both wanted to gaslight her when she decided, I'm not going to stay in this situation, in this toxic situation, and be the type of woman who's going to allow someone to put their hands on me. Yeah. Just like she said in the Dr. Heavenly interview. I don't know why these people are missing it. um, it's the fact, it's the fact that these women actually have the audacity to not understand a woman's reaction to being jumped as self-defense. Reactive abuse. That's what they need to go research. I couldn't believe that lady responded to my comment talking about he was being sarcastic. That's why he put punched in quotes. That man said, I never punched you. Isn't that what he posted to his story? I've been blocked. And let me tell you why I was blocked, y'all. Let me tell you why I was blocked. Because when he that year when he was doing that back and forth on Instagram, when they were doing in that engaged in that back and forth on Instagram, and he was acting like um Melody's just mad because she wants him back and blah blah blah. I posted to my story and tagged him in the video where he was bothering her on her date. See, he been harassing her for a long time because that's harassment to see your ex out on a date with somebody, moving on with her life, and you had to pull up with your phone camera in hand, bothering her, creating excitement, as Jamaicans would say, in a public place. Because how dare she be happy after leaving you? And so he blocked me because how dare I point out that you are the only bitter one in this situation. You're the only one that can't move on. And so I've been blocked ever since then. So I can see nothing that's going on his page. But based on what some people have posted, he said, I never punched you. He didn't say, well, tell the whole story. I punched you because you punched me. Like, he didn't do any of that. He said, I never punched you. You're the only abuser. In that post, only for us to see with text message receipts that he actually did. So even when Marta lies to y'all's face, because what he said was he said he never, a whole lie. And then y'all see for yourselves that he actually did. It's still, well, he put it in quotations. He was being sarcastic. Man, get the hell up out of here. Next. I can't with restream sometimes. I'm kind of miss StreamYard, but StreamYard is too expensive. The truth of the matter is how quickly he deleted. Exactly. And I clocked that too, Alf. I clocked that too. See, he didn't know. He didn't know that Melody was going to read those police reports. He didn't know. Remember when she did the video for Nobody's Business and we saw that elevator scene? We saw the elevator scene. We saw that there was a date and timestamp on that elevator scene, which I thought was specifically done for a reason. Yeah. Because she could have just shot that elevator scene and it was what it was. But not only did she shoot the scene, she literally put a date and timestamp on it. And I said, "Oh, Melody is exposing a lot." Because remember also in that Nobody's Business music video, we saw something about laptops. I don't know if it was she was on the laptop or he was on the laptop. So she was putting a lots of pieces in that video. And we were speculating and whatever. But now I can go back to that elevator scene and say, oh, so you were choking her out in an elevator and she never came out and told anybody. See, I also posted to my Instagram that Martell is one of those motherfuckers. And y'all never hear me curse over here a lot, but Let's just be real. Martell is one of those MFers who feels like because you have protected them in the past, you will continue to do so in the face of them lying on you. He's gotten so complacent with Melody not exposing him that he felt like he was going to carry on with his carrying ons and she wasn't going to tell it all. And I said, he posted the coverage that she gave him in that Dr. Heavenly interview, thinking that it was going to shut her up, thinking it was going to humble her into feeling like, well, the people aren't going to believe me now if I start telling my truth. No, sorry, sir, that's not how it works. Because I think you keep forgetting who the hell Melody is. That lady, that lady always has her receipts. She had a whole red phone of receipts on some people who wanted to spread narratives that she had to borrow credit cards when the truth was always she was out here paying down people's credit cards, trying to be a friend. He forgot. Melody is the receipt queen. And because she don't talk, because she don't speak up, doesn't mean that the receipts are gone. See, he thought that she had disposed of the receipts. And the second he realized that she had the receipts to back up everything that she was saying about him, he started deleting stuff. But the slow people in the back not even clocking that because, sir, if you're telling your truth, why do you need to delete it? Should have kept it up there. Oh, you never punched her? So okay, why are you texting apologies? Why are you admitting to slapping and punching her if you never did? Why are you taking it down? Stand on you never punched her. Ain't that what you said? Stand on it. But even though those people saw him take those posts down, they're still over there caping for him. I feel sorry for them. Um, Toot responding. Toot, I agree. I think she was the one that went searching for those clips. But what's crazy is, girl, there are clips of you saying that this man has put his hands on you. So why? Oh, some women are dense. And I have a strong dislike for women who enter, and this is not just a coleslaw thing. This is even women who they get in a relationship with a man on the up and up, meaning that he left his previous relationship and now he's in a new relationship. There wasn't any cheating involved or anything. But then the new woman feels like the behavior of his ex is because the ex wants him back. And when the ex says, girl, you're going to find out exactly who he is in a few years, you just wait and see. And then the new woman is like, girl, he just did that to you. Da, 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 da. Like, I hate women who don't believe the Yelp reviews. If a woman tells you her baby daddy is horrible, he don't take care of his kids, blah, 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 blah. And then you go and you become baby mama number 2, baby mama number 3, and you feel like he's gonna do you different. But as soon as the relationship is done, you find out exactly what the ex was saying is true. Like, I hate women who feels like when the ex is speaking up is because she's bitter. Who feels like a man who's had a pattern of behavior is gonna change because you're just so special. And then we see a woman like Ariane coleslaw curry, who has said, who has given her own testimony of this man's unhinged behavior. But in order to prove that, oh, he really wanted me, he loves me, and that's why he was cheating so much, because it was really me that he wanted, in order to prove that she's really the winner, she be out here defending the mess that he's doing to somebody else. Is ex of all of all people. That man rolled up on his ex with you in the car, bothering her. You saw Melody going about her business. She wasn't checking for y'all. And you see this man driving around and around and around to go bother her. And you feel like that's a flex? Sitting next to him, you feel like a winner while he's doing that weird stuff to his ex? You out here finding, in my opinion, finding clips for him to help him defend against being called out for being abusive towards his ex in the past, when you've already shared that he's been abusive to you. Girl, you're really slow. You're really slow. Um, yes, I see. Melody was literally skin and bones when they were together because she was stressed emotionally and physically. Yeah, she was so scared. Like Melody, who we see now, Melody now has body yaddy yaddy, okay? She has happy weight on right now. Healthy weight. Like you see Melody, the Melody is thick right now. Melody 2018, when we met her on Love Him, I was about to say Real Housewives. When we met her, season 1 of Love and Marriage Huntsville, she was skinny. She was really tiny. She was a tiny lady. Even when I've seen her in person at the first that event that she held for Hill Harper in Atlanta, I think a year or two ago. I can't remember. Maybe last year. I remember. But she was still tiny then. She's a tiny lady. And so compared to how she looked on TV, because remember they said the camera adds on about 10 pounds. So that means what we were seeing on TV was pretty much 10 pounds more than what she actually was in real life. She's a tiny lady. And you're slapping her with your gym hands, your gym rat hands. You punching her as a man who's lifting weights and shit. Wow, it's crazy. And I've said on a few of my videos about Martell that I've always believed him to be physically abusive. But I've always put the allegedly behind it, because I'm not trying to put something on Melody that she said didn't happen. But in my spirit, I just felt it. You can't look at a man doing all the things that he's doing to this lady and not believe that he'll probably put hands on her. Come on. When I watched the Vegas episode when he ran up on her and all those men in that house, as I said, it took 3 of them to get him out of Melody's face. From that moment on, I said, hmm, this is something that he's been doing a long time. You don't just feel comfortable running up in a woman's face like that if it's not something that you are used to doing. I remember when she sat and talked to him in a cafe scene. I don't remember what season it was. And she was talking about how he would talk to her crazy, even at the start of their marriage. Like he would talk to her crazy. Those men sit on that reunion stage and said, yeah, when he's around coleslaw, he's more aggressive, more aggressive. Like, come on, the signs have been there. I told the story over on Chef Don Don's on one of Chef Don Don's live that I had a cousin. She was in a relationship with a police officer in Jamaica. She's not on my and the only reason why this is also part of my story to tell is because I had to call that dude because he's one of those guys. Let me tell y'all, he was so nice in person. I didn't even know the word narcissistic back then, but he was so sweet. He was so, let me tell you, the perfect gentleman, okay? When he's around other people. And it was one of my cousin's friends who told me and somebody else in my family that he is putting hands on her, that they witnessed it. And even though they witnessed it on accident, like, they pulled up on her to, check in or whatever, and they witnessed like a fight happening. And they were, telling me or whatever. And even though they saw what they saw, she was still denying it. And I called her up. And I'm like, is everything okay? Are you good? Like, is XYZ happening? And she was like, nothing like that. Like, she was like, what do I look like? I would never allow a man to beat on me. And if he ever, I would F him up. Like, that's how she was talking. The whole time she was saying that to us, this dude was beating her up. And she was hiding it. And she was talking a good game covering for him. And I called him and I said, you just joined the police force. Because he was just like, he wasn't even a police officer yet, truth be told. He was like going through the training. And at that point in time, my uncle had just retired. And I said to him, you ever put your hands on her again, I'ma have my uncle and all of his cop buddies roll up on you and beat your ass. That's what I told him. And maybe I was insensitive at the time. Maybe I was insensitive at the time, but I also cussed her out too, because why are you lying to our faces when he's doing this to you? And they broke up because my uncles and his friends would have really rolled up on him and beat his ass. And yes, she would fight back, but that still doesn't mean that she wasn't a victim. Yes, she was covering for him. And yes, she was telling anybody who would listen that if he ever put his hands on her, no, 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 she would F him up and she would do this and she would do that. And in some instances, she was. They were all out fighting in their house. But it still doesn't mean that she wasn't a victim. So even if he said some ish to her and she said, yeah, you're talking, but that's why I had to bust you in your face that time, still doesn't mean that he wasn't the aggressor. So all these women acting like they've never watched a Lifetime movie in their lives, acting like they've never had family members or friends who have lied and acted as if they weren't going through what they're going through in their homes. Like, I don't get it. There's so many women that can tell stories of how much coverage they gave a man who is abusive towards them. How many lies they would tell to protect him. And because of those lies that they told to protect him, when push finally came to shove, that man was calling them all kinds of liars. Oh, she's lying. That's what my cousin's boyfriend told me when I called him and told him that, boy, you just entering the police force. You don't got connections yet. You don't got no pull yet. And if this is how you're acting when you don't even have pull, you don't got no buddies in the force that's going to help to cover for your multitude of sins. This is how you're acting. I'm going to show you how some real men in the force can get down if you don't stop putting your hands on her. And he said to me on that phone call that I don't know what I'm talking about. She's lying. He's never. And let me tell you how we really, really knew that he was. Because even though she was covering for him, she would take pictures of her injuries. And it was a whole intervention. Me and two other people. And we grabbed her phone and we went through it. And we saw the pictures. Like, girl, why are you lying to us? Like, he's doing this to you. You got the pictures, you got the proof, you got all the proof. Like, why? Why are you covering for this man? He's a boy. And literally he was a boy because she was older than him. He was a boy. Girl, you're gonna wait until he's cemented in the police force where now he got bros and now they're gonna cover for him? Oh, hell no. And that man sat on the phone and told me that she was lying. I'm like, she's not lying. We got the pictures right here. We got the proof right here. What you mean she? And so men like that, the more you protect them, the more you cover for them. When it gets to a point where now the truth is coming out, because of all the protection you gave them, they're going to look and call you a whole liar. They're going to know that blood is on their hands and they're going to call you a liar. They're going to know the sins that their hands have committed and they're going to call you a liar. And they're going to use your words against you. He's talking about, oh, you don't know the whole story. What whole story do I need to know? That I'm looking at pictures of my cousin's lips and my cousin's eyes all bruised up. What whole story do I need to know? She'd do that to herself, right? And then shortly after that, they broke up. So thank God. And I'm sure she can look back at that moment. I can look back on that moment and say I was harsh towards her because she was the victim and all of that. But as I said, I was just more so upset that she knew that we would step for her, that she knew that she had all these people in the family that would ride at dawn for her. And because she was so blinded by love, She would tell us that that ain't happening. And if he ever, I would this, that, and the third. Like she would literally say that. She's like, if he ever, I would fuck him up in this house. Like that's what she was saying to us. And she's not the first woman who has conversations like that with family members who see certain things and they hear certain things and they're like, girl, are you okay? Is he doing this to you? And the woman will say, no, and no man's ever gonna do that to me because I'll do this and I'll do that. My cousin isn't the first, Melody isn't the first, and they won't be the last either. There are women right now as we speak covering for a man who just put their hands on them last night. I even posted that to my community wall. I'm like, there are women who show up to work the next day, show up to church the next day, and say, oh, I fell off the bed. Oh, the cupboard hit me in the face. The door hit me in the face. Oh, I was playing with the kids and I got elbowed. I'm good. There are women who do that right now. And it's a multitude of things. It's they're embarrassed. They love the man so much they don't want people to feel like he's just this horrible individual. They feel like, oh, it just happened one time, so I don't need people to be in my business. It happened two times. It's just been two times. He's only hit me two times. So I don't need people to look at him like he's just this abuser. That's how they that's how the mind works sometimes. And until you get out of it, you don't really realize that that's what you were dealing with. Um, you said even the OTJ cameras have proof. What's OTJ? Oh, on the job. Oh. You said, I'm sure Mel has pictures and I'm sure the kids have seen a lot. Remember in one of those episodes when I think it was it Boss Baby? I think it was Boss Baby. It wasn't Sugar Mama. Sugar Mama was like just a baby. I don't remember which one of the kids, but one of the kids said, I saw daddy go on an elevator with a woman. And he was like, where did you see that? And she said, I was with mom. And then he went to the confessionals like, I don't care what's happening between me and Mel, but she should never allow our children to see things like that. And I was like, are you joking? If she happened to be somewhere that she didn't know that you were going to be, and your cheating self didn't have enough common sense to not be in the city messing around, and your wife pulls up at a hotel to do whatever business she needs to do, and she's with one of the children, and the child turns around and sees a elevator door closing, and it's you and another woman on the elevator, then what the hell do you mean Melody shouldn't let the children see? That's the manipulation. That's the gaslighting. Because how am I wrong? Because that's how I'd be looking at it as a woman. Like, what? How am I wrong? Because you were out here doing me dirty, and your daughter happened to see it. So as you said, Ines, we don't know how much these babies have had to witness. Remember, Mel used to say she used to lock herself in the closet and cry. She didn't want her kids to see her crying. Hmm. But yeah, I'm sure she has pictures. Because I remember even Dawn at one point in time, was talking about how, they had video to prove certain things that he had been doing, and they just haven't dropped it because they just want to see him do better. So even Melody's team has been protecting him. Oh, let's not forget, this ain't allegedly, because the victim came out and spoke out about it. Makeup artist Jay Taylor tells about how Martell attacked him at one of the reunions. But yet somehow these pygmies don't see how he can be a violent person. Man, so many instances that we can point out. So many instances. But listen, even some of the things that Mel said occurred on the show that they did not show, she can still get the footage legally if they are subpoenaed for those clips, for those episodes. They gotta hand it over. They have to hand it over. I think it's Melody who had told us that they had to keep, I think legally they had to keep like certain footage for at least 10 years or something like that before they can dispose of it or whatever. I don't remember what live she was doing, and she said that. I'm trying to go through. What did you say here too? Oh my god. This thing is just so hard to use. Was it at the reunion when Martell yelled at Melody about look what you are doing to me? You are not protecting me. I don't remember. But I remember when they were talking, I think when I don't remember which one of the daughters, they were driving down some street and one of the kids saw Martell and his baby mama sitting somewhere, and the little baby was like, get away from my father, get away from my father. And Martell was trying to make it seem like Mel was telling the kids that he had a baby when Melody hadn't told them anything. She was like, I'm still protecting him. I haven't told them anything because that's not my job. Sorry, that's not my job to tell them. And then he piped down like, yeah, I have. And I'm like, see, people don't, even in that moment, I don't think people realize just how much he lies on her. Like he was sitting there telling the cast and Carlos and we, the viewers, that Melody has been bad mouthing him and telling the kids all the business. And the whole time, Melody hadn't even said anything to the children about him having a baby on the way. And even when he would say, oh, she needed to keep their business in the household, and that Melody is the reason why people knew he was cheating. And the whole time he was going out on guys' trips. He was going out on guys' trips and bringing Ariane along. And that's something. Do y'all see how much he lies on her? Mm-mm-mm. So when Mel said no more covering, I think about everyday life, how we front to ensure the man looks good. And she made him look good. She did. She made him look good. From their business ventures in the beginning, 2018, when we met them, and we thought that they were really truly a power couple when the only power in the couple was Melody. She did make him look good. And that's not a fault because when you're married, you are supposed to cover each other. But the thing is, she was the only one covering. He wasn't out here protecting her from tongues wagging and gossip. And when they decided to do the show and she decided to tell the truth, he blamed her for exposing the mess that he was doing when the whole time the entire cast knew because he was bringing the side chick on vacation with him and the boys. The second Mel left him, we realized he had no brains. Remember Ariane on a live talking about Martel's the brains of the operation. He's the brains. He was the muscle, but definitely not the brains. Because if he was the brains behind the operation, he would have a great suit line right now. If he actually had brain, if he could actually run a business, even in that meeting when they were dissolving the businesses, right? And he was like, you should be successful. How much I invest? Like he was trying to make it seem like, oh, you were just a school teacher. And I was out here cutting grass and making all this money. But what I realize now is, yeah, you were cutting the grass, but Mel was doing the books. Mel was doing the accounting. Mel was helping with the marketing. You were literally cutting your granddaddy's grass and three other people until Mel decided, okay, let me really help you. And then y'all became a corporation. And it's clear. It's so clear he wasn't the brains behind anything because his wine failed. It's unfortunate that he wrote a book about traveling with his kids and that failed. And the suit line didn't even make it off the ground. He couldn't even come up with 100K to invest in his own suit line. He still ain't got a builder's license. He can't pass the test, I guess, or he's not trying to take the test. And to me, it seems like Martel is just out here working odd jobs. To me, it seems like he is an employee under somebody else's construction company. And even his stake in Love and Marriage Huntsville seems like it's non existent because the Scots have taken over the show. And really and truly, if everybody on that show decides that they're not filming with him, he's going to be out of a job. He's gonna be out of a job. It don't matter how much Carlos wants to cover for him, protect him. If every single person says we are not filming with him, if he pops up in our scene uninvited, we're gonna walk out. Then the only choice that they're gonna have to make as a production team is to, hey Braylon, is to let him go. So when he loses the Love and Marriage Huntsville check, what is he gonna do? The truth be told, if he didn't mess up his family, do you can I mean, can y'all even think about it for a second? Just think about it for a second. If he didn't mess up his family in the way that he did, there would be a male line of Seventh Avenue Beauty. It would be Seventh Avenue Beauty for Men by Martel Holt or some shit like that. I mean, it would probably still be Embrace, but I'm just saying. When Mel was doing those J Bowling collabs, it would have been him and Melody. He would have had a stake in Nubian Network. He would be out there helping to produce Sharnita's World. There would be so much that would have been going on for him if he didn't mess up his family. And that man, he hates just how much Melody is just out here elevating. She's elevating and he is stuck. And this goes back to why we don't believe Destiny's claim of AB from LB. There's no way you can fully align yourself with the likes of the demon while having experienced AB from your ex. And that is partly true. But I've always been one of those people out that says, I don't see it for Destiny. But if she's saying that this happened to her, you know what? I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. Even, and this is why I say I don't understand people who say I hate Melody so much that I have to believe Martell. that I just have to believe Martell because I hate Melody. Because I've said I have a very strong dislike for Destiny. I do. I feel like she's manipulative. I feel like she's a liar. I feel like she's another pick me on that show. I feel like she's weak minded. I feel like she's not a great friend. I feel all those things about her. But she said, this was my experience in this marriage. And I said, you know what? I'm going to mind my business because I wasn't in that lady's marriage and I can't tell her what she experienced. I saw the court documents that Trendon was reading at the time, and I saw the allegations that LeBerick himself made against her. But I still said, you know what, I'm gonna mind my business. So why can't these people on the other side who say, I don't like Melody, why can't they say, you know what? Let me mind my, I don't like her, but I'm gonna mind my business because I wasn't in their marriage. And I cannot tell this lady what she did or did not experience when it came to that man. I wish more people would do that. But I can also agree with you, Alf, that if you have experienced abuse to the level that Destiny says she experienced it, it would be hard for her to stomach the presence of somebody like Martell, who we are watching actively harass his ex wife. It would be hard for her to make excuses when she is watching him actively do this to Melody. So there are questions that are in the air. Hmm. I hope all is well with you too, Braylon. I pop in sometimes on your lives. Cause you know you gonna tell us the news, baby. You gonna tell us the news. Not the reality TV news now. The real news that we really need to be listening to, okay? Miss Cece says dissolve isn't even an accounting budget term in my field, but I wanted to use it. The panel just looked at me and went with it. Dissolved. Oh my God. Sal says we put a lot of clues together from the Nobody's Business video just for her to prove our assumption correct a year later. Yeah, listen, I was out here assuming a lot from that video. A lot, okay? And I just said, I don't want to put words in her mouth. Like, she never said anything. She never came out and said, well, that part of the video, you know, this is what it meant and this really happened. But it didn't stop a lot of us from, it didn't stop a lot of us from speculating. I don't go to any CCs who trash Melody. I keep my peace and sanity clear. Oh, me too, girl. As I said earlier in this video, I am so happy that my algorithm has been, because I am very quick to say not interested. There are CCs right now that I still follow who cover Love and Marriage Hunter. And when I look at my timeline and it says upcoming Love and Marriage Hunter episode, whatever, I click not interested. Not interested. Not interested, not interested, not interested. Because I need the timeline to my YouTube algorithm to understand that I do not need you to show me anything that's happening with Love and Marriage Hunter. And when Married to Medicine comes back on, the CCs who are covering that show, it's gonna be not interested, not interested, not interested. Because I only started watching Married to Medicine again because of Letitia. And she's no longer on the show. So I don't need to watch it. I might see something on Instagram that piques my interest and I might say something about it. But outside of that, no, I'm not going to be tuned in. It did fall flat. to the dig about her hair and face. Like it felt fat because she obviously looked good. Like we couldn't see initially what Melody looked like. Cause I was like, why is he talking about fix your hair and fix your face? Like, what is he talking about? Especially seeing what Ariane's hair and face looked like in that courthouse. Like, what? And when shout out to Hannah Grace for capturing those clips, because when I actually saw how Melody looked in the court, I was like, what is this man's problem? Like, why is he such a hater? Why is he such a hater? No, and you know what I wish, Alf? I wish that Melody would not even give them a second of attention. A lot of them, as I said before, a lot of them have been very disappointing to me since Kiki passed away. A lot of content creators that I followed before Kiki passed away, they have become very desperate in how they, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird. Ever since her passing, it's like a lot of them have just become so gross in their commentary. And I had to fall back from a lot of them right after Kiki passed away. I'm like, okay, I see what time you're on, and I'm not going to be over here anymore. And I clicked unsubscribe on a lot of them. And then when they kept popping up on my timeline, because, I was still like listening to other content creators who were, giving updates on, like fundraisers for Kiki's family and stuff like that. So, people were still going to pop up on my timeline. And I would click not interested real fast on some of them because I don't understand. Like, what is this? Where did this hatred just come from overnight? Like, what is going on? And then to hear further down the line that some of these same people are now friends with people who did Kiki horribly in the YouTube space, I'm just like, oh. So it doesn't surprise me that they're caping for Martell. It doesn't surprise me. It's disappointing, but it doesn't surprise me. Mm-mm. He said Martell is such a hater. I remember the kid said they can't have any of Mel's products when they go to his house. He is a hater and he is petty. Cause can you imagine you have your little skincare routine as a kid? You washing your face, you only want to use your mama's body wash because it's quality products. And then when you go to your daddy house, you gotta be over there using, Irish Spring. My bad, Irish Spring. I was not trying to have y'all catch a stray. Ah, you gotta be over there using, some low brand soap because your daddy mad that your mama's products is going, flying off the TikTok shop shelves and her website shelves. That is crazy. That is so crazy. Yeah, I think so too, Toot. I think she really thought that they would be able to co-parent amicably. I even think that Mel was probably a little relieved when he started supposedly dating Sheree. Because this is how I see it, okay? And follow me on. And I'm about to end because we're about to hit 2 hours. Um, Sheree and Melody have no beef. Sheree hasn't said anything disgusting or disparaging about Melody. So I could see as a woman feeling a little sense of relief that now your kids no longer have to be around a woman who's talked nasty things about your children and nasty things about you. I could see that as a woman, like, whew, okay, At least he was somebody who got a little bit of sense, somebody who I have no beef with, somebody who I can sit across from a table from and have a conversation because there is no history there. I think the people were like, "Oh, she's mad that he's with Sheree." No, I think in my mind, as a mother, as a mother, let's say my husband cheated on me, and the woman he cheated on me with was hella disrespectful, said nasty things about my kids, said nasty things about me. We're divorced, and now he is shut up with this woman. I wouldn't want my kids around this woman because I can't trust her. But now he's dating somebody that there's no history of disrespect, nothing. It's a clean slate. I could get on board with that. I don't want him back, but I'm glad that my kids don't have to deal with that nasty trash woman anymore. And I don't have to deal with that nasty trash ass woman anymore either. And I think honestly, if Martel was really truly dating Sheree and Melody felt like he was truly dating Sheree, that at that point in time, she probably felt a sense of relief, only to find out in court that it was a business arrangement and she still gonna have her kids still gonna have to deal with trash ass coleslaw. Yeah. So I agreed to it. I think there was a time when she really wanted there to be she really wanted to be amicable. She didn't want toxicity surrounding their co-parenting relationship, which is why she didn't go after him for child support. I mean, she knew he couldn't afford it anyways. She wanted them to have equal time with the children. She wanted them to be able to go on vacations together and still show the children that we're not a family in the sense that we're living under the same roof, but we can be a family in the sense of we can be in the same space and I don't have to be in defense mode all the time. And he messed that up. He messed that up. He messed that up. You said, right, how is it Martell show? He barely has screen time. Why hasn't Carlos had Martell on his podcast yet? Child, I have no idea. But remember in Melody's last season on the show, remember last year, Melody was not on um Messy Mondays with Carlos. He wasn't. She wasn't. Y'all remember that? And I think that was by Melody's choice and Melody's choice only. I think Carlos would have loved to have Melody, on his podcast, but she was like, I think Mel was like, hell no. I don't F with you like that. You already used me to kick off your dusty Carlos King live with the King show, up there smiling in my face as I looked in your face and told you that y'all are funding the madness. That I don't understand why this man is doing all these things and he's still on the show. And then what did y'all do? Y'all edited out that part. Because let's be clear, he used her. He knew that Melody would have helped him sell out his first show. And so he made sure that she was his first guest. Not Heavenly, not Tamar, not any of those people. Melody Cherie. And that show was sold out to the point where they had to add additional seats, remember? To sell more tickets. And he was so excited. And then he stabbed her in the back. And I think the second Melody realized that there was going to be no change. It doesn't matter what he did. It doesn't matter what she said. It doesn't matter what she asked. As she said, she was no longer going to fund her own abuse. They want to fund her abuse, and they want her to help them make money so that she can continue to fund her own abuse. Because let's be clear, Melody is the show. They haven't moved from the only time I check in on that show is when Millie Chun posts the ratings. Because, yes, I'm watching the ratings. And they haven't surpassed, they haven't even gotten to 300,000 viewers yet. Now, I don't know if everything that has transpired this week is going to push them over. I hope not. I hope that people were actually tuned in this week and thinking to themselves, why am I watching an abuser on my TV screen? I hope the ratings plummet this week. And I don't think they're ever going to go past 300. I don't even think they're going to make it there. I don't. Because even when you look at the viewership from last year, the episodes that went over 300,000, close to 400K, were the episodes that heavily featured Melody. And then when the ratings were low last year, it was because Melody wasn't in the episode. That was the pattern. If Melody was heavily featured, the episode was past 300,000. If she wasn't in the episode, it was, close to 300, 250, 270, thereabout. But they fell off because she wasn't, she wasn't in the episode. So let's see. Um, I was so proud of Melody for not letting CK pimp her as a workhorse to promote Love and Marriage Huntsville the last season. She said no more, get somebody else to do it. And the people who he has to do it, they are just not entertaining, like at all. I don't even I don't even check out his interviews anymore because his interviews are after the Chantel Christie interview. I don't think that I've watched any of his other interviews because the people who he's bringing on now, they're like so low budget. They're like so low budget. It's like, dang. I think he's used up like all his good favor. Like you can't bring Nene on again. Nene has her own show that she got to focus on. You already did Kenya. There's not much more Kenya can say. It's like, I guess eventually he'll go and try to grab Heavenly to talk about, Heavenly and her run for Congress, because I guess she's no longer running for state rep. She's actually trying to represent Atlanta in Congress. And I've been trying to find out who she's running against for that seat, because if that person is, in my opinion, good people, they're not on the other side, then I would love to help them with some clips. Oh my God. Yes, I'm that petty. I do not like that lady. Wait, what, vindicated? What does Tisha mean when she says vindicated? Girl, Tisha blocked me. I don't know I don't know. When did she say that, Ines? Oh, you said, oh, I didn't know that too, that she said that. When I tell you I don't check for these people, I don't even know what they be saying. So she said that it could have been the cast. You mean when Carlos had the live with Melody? I could see how they felt away. But baby, y'all can't draw a crowd. Even if it was the cast, majority of the people who would have shown up for the live would have been Melody fans. And that's the truth. The whole room would have been Melody fans, and y'all would have felt out of place. because nobody was there to see y'all, Otis. Right? Like, you want me to use some low budget products because you hate my mama so much? Let me tell you, you see how some of these celebrity kids are older and now they're talking a lot and they're talking about their experience with their celebrity parents. Even like little Scrappy's daughter Imani, she's talking, and she's saying a lot about him as a man and stuff like that now as an adult. Like, I can't wait for the Eminem kids to get to that age where one, he can't like, it will be both of the parents can't force them to but I think there's a point in time in custody battles where children have the power to decide who they want to be with. I know that at some point they get to an age where the courts at 16, 17, you can't force this kid to go stay at his daddy house every other week, or you can't force this kid to go stay at their mama house every other week. And so I can't wait till they're at that point where they can't be forced, where if they said I don't want to go, and then he tries to take her back to court, and the judge says to the child, okay, who do you want to stay with? And the kid says, I want to stay with my mama. There's nothing he can do about it. I can't wait till they get to an age where they talk about their true feelings about everything that they've witnessed. And who knows what their feelings will be. Who knows? It might not all be in Melody's favor. It might not all be against Martha. Like, who knows? But I can't wait for them to get older and to start talking about some of these things. I can't wait for them to get to an age where the court can't force them to do this 50-50 every other week stuff. Because what I read as it pertains to Alabama's custody laws is that for older children, this is what I read the other day, because I was wondering, like, at what age can they not force the kids to do this week on, week off thing anymore? And what I read was that in Alabama, when the kids get to a certain age where they feel like, okay, the child can't be manipulated by either parents to say, whatever in court, the judge will take into consideration what is in the best interest of the child when they're at a particular age. So if the child says, I'm more comfortable staying at my mom's house because there's more space, I have my own room, da 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 da. My mom is the one paying for my tennis. My mom is the one paying for my baseball. She's the one doing majority of it. And the only reason, and when I'm over my dad's house, it's smaller, it's cramped, I don't have my own space, da 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 da. So I would rather to stay with my mom full time. And yeah, I'll go see my dad on weekends and weekends only, for like the Saturday only. And then I want my mama to come pick me up in the evening. Then the court's going to take that into consideration, and they're going to change the custody agreement based on what that older child is saying they need. So I can't wait for those kids to get to that age where they can decide what they want. Because I feel within my heart that it will never be, I want to go live with my daddy full time. And I don't see that happening. I think the age is 13 for a child to say which parent they want to stay with, but Alabama. Yeah, that's what I read. Alabama is different. They don't have a specific age in Alabama. They just ask the child. And then it's up to the judge to weigh what is in the best interest of the child. That's what I read. The guardian ad litem will have input as to best interest of these children regarding custody. In some states, as early as 12, the child's preference has more weight than if they were younger. Yeah, that's what I read too, DG. And hey, DG, Tooth, you're blocked too. I don't even know why Tisha blocked me. I don't care, but I don't know why she blocked me. Because I never tagged her in anything. I don't tag people on Instagram. I think it's probably something I said over on Twitter. Because on Twitter, I'm a menace. And I think when I used to tweet about the show over on Twitter, I would really be saying some stuff over there. So that's probably something I said over on Twitter that made her block me. But I don't know why. I'm blocked, but I'm blocked. Tisha blocked me and Martell blocked me. Marsau, I don't know. I was following Marsau up until when Mel said I'm no longer on the show. Then I was like, okay, unfollow Kimmy, unfollow Nell Fletcher. Shoot, I went on an unfollow spree. So it's like I don't need y'all popping up on my timeline. I will not be watching that show. I think Tisha posted subliminals about how time will tell. She actually sounds stupid because that means they knew. That's what I'm saying. Like, how would she be vindicated in this whole situation? Like, has she ever said in the past that she knows that Martell used to put hands on Melody and like we've never all we've heard Tisha say is that we didn't know until you said something, Mel. We didn't know. You were the one that brought it up and told us not to talk about it on the show. And then we found out that that was a lie because y'all's husbands were on guys' trips with this girl and Martell. So y'all knew before she said something. They were out at bars in Huntsville with the side piece showing up. Ain't that wild? Mm-mm. So I don't know how Tisha would be vindicated. Y'all treated Martell for years like he's just this good guy, and Melody was just the most horrible person ever. I will continue to say, and I will forever say that when Martell said in what was it, season one, season two? Yeah, it was season one, that he wasn't the only one cheating and that they're all clowning him and he's not the only cheater. And Tisha decided that she was going to pull up on Melody to talk to Melody about ish that Martell was saying. Melody wasn't the one out here bringing up whether your husband was cheating or not. It was Martell. But you couldn't allow your husband to deal with Martell. You wanted Melody to jump in and help fight your battles. You thought that a wife was going to stand against her husband. It wasn't Tisha's place to go pull up on Melody to ask her about something that Martell said to Marsau. Melody didn't even know what Martell said to Marsau. And so I will forever say that Tisha was wrong for doing that. And Melody was justified in her response. Like, girl, go pull up on him at the bar. Put the kids in the back seat and go pull up on him at the bar when he's out 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And don't come asking me about whether I feel like he's cheating or not. And the reason why Melody had that smoke for your ass, Tisha, was because she knew that y'all had been knowing for a while that her husband was out there cheating on her. And instead of saying something to her, y'all were just snickering behind her back and laughing in her face because y'all hated how she felt like her marriage was perfect. Y'all hated that she was a boss. So y'all wanted to just sit back and watch their marriage sink rather than help to save it. And then y'all want me to feel like, oh, well, Melody was the one that brought up that the husbands were cheated. She wasn't. All she did was defended her husband's position because just like Marsau and Maurice were pillow talking with their wives about Martel's shenanigans, y'all don't think Martel was pillow talking with his wife too at the time? Oh, okay. So I don't know how Tisha would be vindicated in this situation. It makes no sense. But Tisha don't normally make sense, so it's not surprising. To this day, I've never to this day, I've never seen it for Tisha because she played in Melody's face all the time on the show when Melody always gave her grace. And she did. She did. Always gave her grace. So they knew and still chose to stand up for Martell. Yeah, even Kimmy's dumb self talking about he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Listen, Toot, I used to see Toot cutting up over there too on Twitter. I always say, like, listen, I'm a professional over here on YouTube. I'm also a professional over there on Instagram, but over there on Twitter, I'm a whole different person, okay? I'm a whole different person. Oh my God. Oh, you were calling out her lies? I feel like probably that's what I was doing over there too, Inez. I probably was calling out inconsistencies because I remember posting when it came to Destiny, right? And how she used to talk about, oh, I knew Martell in high school. We went to the same high school, da 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 da. And I guess she forgot that she did a whole interview with the U Ladies First panel where she said she left Huntsville in middle school. That lady said in that interview that she left Huntsville in middle school and that she knew Martell vicariously through other people that used to hang out in the same group as Martell. So girl, you didn't know Martell. If you weren't even in Huntsville during middle school. You didn't go to high school in Huntsville and you barely went to middle school in Huntsville. But to make it seem like Melody was just so wrong to feel like you and her were closer than the relationship you had with Martell, you had to start putting it out there like, oh no, we went to the same high school. And so I posted the clip from that interview where she said she left Huntsville when she was in middle school. She didn't go to high school in Huntsville. And she was never really friends with Martell. She was trying to figure out every single way to make it seem like she was just this close buddy buddy with Martell. Oh, my uncle's cousin on my mama's side used to date Marlene when they were like 15. Oh, my cousin's baby is Martell's goddaughter. Like she was fishing and fishing and fishing and fishing in that interview to find every single way that she could be connected to Martell. And I called it out and she found herself checking me. I'm like, girl, we're not dumb. These were your words in the interview. You basically said in the interview you didn't know this man. So Melody was fully in her rights to feel like because you and her ex didn't grow up together, y'all weren't best friends, y'all didn't go to high school, and you and her were on the phone being friends, leaning on each other. She was paying down your credit cards, helping you pay your light bills and shit, that you should have chosen her and not the dum dum. But as soon as that friendship ended, you just wanted the world to feel like, I knew Martell long before I knew Melody. We grew up together. We went to the same school together. I've been calling out these people for years with their lies. They say one thing in interviews and they go to the show and they say another thing. They do dumb stuff on social media, and then when Melody responds, she becomes the bad guy. Like I remembered when Martell and Melody were going back and forth that year on Instagram, Tisha and Marsau found themselves on Instagram Live talking about, I would not fight you if you wanted full custody of the kids. I would just say, here you go. And I'm like, really? Y'all find this funny? Some kids that y'all knew from they were babies? And this is y'all's take? Baby, that that old lady's first interview with Destiny has not aged well. For her line as Big Blue Smile. Oh my god, why does Restream do that to the emojis that I'm sure you're posting? That is weird. All right, y'all. I am going to hop off now. We've been here for 2 hours, child. Oh, the next thing I wanted to talk about, excuse me, was K Michelle saying that people over there on Real Housewives of Atlanta are plotting on her. And I guess Drew no longer follows her. And Angela Oakley no longer follows her. Now, I liked Angela Oakley last season early on, but by the end of it, I was like, girl, you just another one of the liars on reality TV. How sad. I like K Michelle. I don't care. Hey, Anitra, right? I have not been live in a minute. Okay. um, well, actually, no, I've been trying to go live more. Today, I was like looking for something to watch on YouTube and nobody was live. And I'm like, girl, you're a YouTuber. Go live. If nobody's online, that means it's the perfect time for you to go live. Like, why are you looking for someone to watch? Go live. And so that's why I ended up live right now. But anyways, I like K Michelle. K Michelle is good TV. I don't. Hey, Miss Mary White, I saw you the other day and in Tay's chat, and I hadn't seen you for a long time. Well, mainly because I haven't been live that much. So it was really, really great to see you, and I had to say hey to you. So it's nice to see you over here. I hope you have been really, really well. You and Miss Linda and so many others, I call y'all my YouTube aunties, just out of respect, because as a Jamaican, women of a particular age who have lived life and who can, you know, give you, a wealth of knowledge, you show them respect, okay? And I'll always show y'all respect. But yeah, about K Michelle, she's saying that they're teaming up and forming alliances to take her down. And I don't know why. Like she is new to this Real Housewives stuff. So unless it's because people are like chummy with, hey Miss Cece, um, unless people are just so chummy with Rashida, I guess, that they're taking sides. I don't know what the reason could be, but I can't wait to see it play out. Cause I know K Michelle is a wordsmith. I know people feel like K Michelle is just a ghetto hood rat because that's what they saw on Love and Hip Hop. But this is a very educated woman. She is college educated. She is a businesswoman. Y'all have to understand that reality TV, you have different levels of reality TV. And the persona that she had to give on Love and Hip Hop was what it was because that was a different environment. Love and Hip Hop is a completely different vibe. Just like Love and Marriage Huntsville is a totally different vibe from Real Housewives or any of the Bravo shows, right? Even Heart and Hustle Houston is a way better produced show than Love and Marriage Huntsville. Have y'all seen that? Am I the only one that clocked that? Because let's be clear, the only person that was ever given wealth over there on Love and Marriage Huntsville was Melody. And then at the time when they were the then Holtz, like they were the only ones that was given wealth. They were the only ones that were given business. And then even after Melody left that marriage, she became the only one that was really truly given wealth and businesses and actually having motion. But those women over there on Heart and Hustle Houston, those women are fly. Those women are bosses. The storylines are given over there. People came out over there swinging, telling their business. They were telling their business. They said, I'm going to air myself out before these social media streets start airing me out. Okay? So I like that show. I'm not talking about it. I will check out the reviews that other people are doing, but and I just wish that they were on a Friday night. That's my only wish. I wish that they would have been on a Friday night, give them their own day so that people like me would watch it live. I am not watching Heart and Hustle live because I refuse to give Love and Marriage Huntsville any viewership. And even if I tune into Heart and Hustle 5 minutes, 50 minutes after it starts, it doesn't give them the ratings. It actually, that it doesn't count with their to it doesn't add to their viewership numbers. And somebody said that Love and Marriage Huntsville, like when it's ending, it kind of like loops into the start of Heart and Hustle, which means those are the end few seconds of Love and Marriage Huntsville. If you tune in right as it's ending and it's going into Heart and Hustle, it means you're giving them numbers. And I'm not going to give them no numbers. Not even for a few seconds. So I wish that Heart and Hustle Houston would have been on a Friday night. I don't want it to be on before Huntsville because then that means that when it's ending, they would be going into Huntsville, which means those couple seconds would add to Huntsville viewership. I don't want to do that. And I hate that it's on after them because those few seconds, their lead out is leading into Houston's show, which means I'm still adding to their viewership. I don't like that. So I catch the show like a day after, which means they're not getting the amount of viewership that they would get. And I think that a lot of people would be watching Houston if they were watching Huntsville, because a lot of people would have just stuck around to watch Houston. And I think the reason why their viewership is so low for Heart and Hustle Houston is because a lot of people aren't watching Huntsville anymore. It's sad, but I like it. You said Miss Cece says I'm liking our Heart and Hustle Houston so far. I don't have a headache after viewing it. Yeah, it's light. It's light. And I hope that the producer doesn't take it down a dark path. These women, they're being vulnerable about their relationships, their marriages, and stuff like that. And that's okay because it's real life. But we don't have to take it to a point where people are trying to take down people, and this one wants to be queen bee. So if they feel like the other one is more the queen bee, now it's I gotta go after her to get her spot. Like I hope it doesn't get to that point because right now it's good reality TV. It just needs to be on another day. And I hope that they advocate for the show to be moved to Friday nights or even Sunday. No, not Sunday, because then they have to compete with, Real Housewives. So Friday night would be good. Friday night would be a good night. I would tune in on a Friday night. Exactly. I do not watch the live broadcast of Heart and Hustle. I wait and watch the episode on YouTube days later, or just, yeah. And I feel sad for them because they are really, really suffering because people don't want to support Huntsville in any way, shape, or form. I do not want to add to Huntsville numbers in any way whatsoever. So I'm sorry, Heart and Hustle. It's a good show, but I'm gonna catch y'all like the next day or something on YouTube because I don't even be watching on Truth Be Told. They know K Michelle is ruthless. Can be ruthless with her reads, so they are trying to strike first. I'm telling y'all, K Michelle is good TV. All the people who are like, I don't know why Bravo, put K Michelle on Real Housewives of Atlanta, because they know K Michelle is good TV. They know she's good TV. K Michelle is going to bring in some ratings. I'm telling y'all, I don't know about Pinky Cole. I don't know a lot about her. Slutty Vegan, all of that. I don't really know a lot about her. So it's going to be nice to see what she can bring to the table. But I already know what K Michelle can bring to the table. She is a working artist. She's a businesswoman. She's a mother. I hear that she's a wife. And she is a wordsmith. So here's to K Michelle being on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And all the haters, y'all gonna still be tuned in. So thank you on behalf of K Michelle. Okay. Alrighty, y'all. Hi, Simone Wealthy. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks to everybody that tuned in today. I haven't been consistent with going live. I'm going to try if I'm ever on YouTube and it's dry on YouTube, then I'll come live. And I'm gonna try to drop more pre-recorded videos. I need to do a live about the founder of Uda Beauty, I think, who passed away. The coroners are saying um the cause of her death is unknown. I think it's very suspicious because she was in the middle of a $50 million lawsuit against the people who she claimed stole her company. So I'm going to do a pre-recorded video about that because I think it needs to be highlighted. This was a Black woman who was a leader in the makeup space. Her company was the one of the first companies, the first pioneers of having a plethora of shades for every skin tone. She was one of the first to do it. And she was sick. She went on sick leave. And by the time she came back, her company was gone. So we're going to talk about it. But I'm going to make that a pre recorded video. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all for You said Owen probably, let me read this, Miss Cece. Owen probably thought Love and Marriage Huntsville would be a good anchor show for the new show, for the new Hard and Hustle Houston. At this point, I'm sure CK loved the views counted for Love and Marriage Huntsville when people not in the know turn on to watch. Yeah, I think he's excited, and I think a lot of why Huntsville stays like in the 200 still is because of Heart and Hustle Houston. Um, you said when I record the show on Philo, it starts exactly with the preview. When I record the show on Philo, it starts exactly with the preview. It starts with the preview of Huntsville, or it starts with the preview of Heart and Hustle. Which one? Me too, Simone. Listen, I started to do the research about some of the things that was happening with her company before she passed. I have information already about the lawsuit. I have information about, because there's good and bad to it, like before she stepped down from the company, they were accusing her of owing money to suppliers and all kinds of things. So I am going to do a deep dive because I think it's very suspicious that in the middle of this lawsuit, she has passed away. So we're going to talk about it. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see y'all later.